It was surprising soon after the Queen's birthday in Australia to hear that Mr. Hockey, who's the shadow treasurer, had gone into the media saying that he was negotiating on behalf of the coalition with the Australian Republican movement, a dwindling force in Australian life. It's surprising that Mr. Hockey would do this when all eyes have been on the federal government because of their difficulties in a number of areas. Similarly, after Mr. Turnbull lost the leadership of the Liberal Party, he went into the media declaring his affirmation of the Republican agenda and that he had changed his mind about having a popularly elected president. Now that would have surprised many Republicans who want to have a popularly elected president, because this was the big division among Republicans at the Constitutional Convention. Be that as it may, remember, all members of Parliament swear an oath of allegiance to the sovereign, or they make an affirmation. And it's rather difficult, I would think, to draw some understanding of that with their republicanism. In any event, it clearly doesn't help the Liberal Party to have some members of Parliament campaigning about a republic which is obviously unattainable. Compare that with the Canadian Parliament. In Canada, both the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition have announced very clearly that they are supporters of the Canadian monarchy. And that's how it used to be in Australia. It's often suggested to me that all we have to do is just remove the Queen from our Constitution and we can continue as before. But nobody is able to point me to any Westminster Republic which works as well as the Westminster system does in Canada and Australia, New Zealand and the United Kingdom and other Westminster countries. The recent example of Germany demonstrates how difficult it is to do this. In Germany, the government of Chancellor Merkel is under great stress for reasons relating to the way in which Germany is managing the euro within the European Union. And it looks very much as though the coalition of Chancellor Merkel may well break up. Coincidentally, or perhaps it is somehow related to this, I don't know, the German president recently resigned for reasons which the Guardian says are unexplained, and an election is to be held on the 30th of June for a new president. That election is essentially a parliamentary election, a special college consisting of representatives of all of the members of the federal parliament and representatives of the state parliaments meet together and they elect the new president. This is always a political election, and this election is now being seen as an important test of Chancellor Merkel's government, because those who oppose Chancellor Merkel's candidate for president will see it as a significant victory if they can get the Social Democratic candidate for president up. So the election of a president becomes a political contest, and winning that for the opposition will be a way of scoring against the Chancellor or German Prime Minister. At precisely the time in Germany where there is need for an institution above politics, as we have in Australia, as we have in Canada, as we have in New Zealand and the United Kingdom, At precisely that time, politics has moved into the presidency. The presidency is yet another political trophy to be gained by the winning political party. And what we have in Australia, in our oldest constitutional institution, is an institution, the Australian Crown, which is above politics. And it is there along with the other institutions above politics, the courts, for example, the armed forces, who owe their allegiance to the Crown and not a political institution. It's sad, isn't it, that in Germany, the country which, above all from its history, ought to have a constitutional system in which the presidency is above politics, is not able to achieve that. The Australian Republicans, who still refuse to tell us what they want, ought to be able to point us to a model where you have the Westminster system and an institution which is above politics, as it is in Australia and New Zealand and Canada.